Before America reached the moon, it inherited a rocket born in the darkest chapter of World War II. It did not begin as a symbol of discovery. It did not begin with astronauts, flags, or dreams of walking on another world. It began in smoke, concrete, fear, and secrecy. This was the V-2 rocket, a machine designed by Nazi Germany as a weapon, but powerful enough to change the future of spaceflight forever. In the final years of the war, the V-2 became one of the most advanced weapons on Earth. It could climb high into the sky, cross long distances, and strike faster than any aircraft could intercept. For the people living under its path, it was terror. For engineers watching its performance, it was also something else, a disturbing glimpse of the future. Because hidden inside this weapon was the basic architecture of modern rocketry. Liquid fuel, guidance systems, high-altitude flight. A shape built not only to cross borders, but to reach the edge of space. At the center of this story was Wernher von Braun, a brilliant and controversial rocket engineer whose work would later become inseparable from America's space program. But in the early 1940s, that work belonged to Nazi Germany. The V-2 was assembled and tested in a world of forced labor, military pressure, and brutal human cost. That is the part of the story that cannot be separated from the machine. Every great technological leap has a history, and this one carried a shadow. By 1945, the war in Europe was collapsing. German cities were falling. Factories were being abandoned. Documents were being burned, hidden, or rushed away. But the Allies understood something very clearly. The war might be ending, but the future was just beginning. And whoever captured the rockets, the blueprints, and the scientists would gain an enormous advantage. The United States wanted them. The Soviet Union wanted them. This was no longer just a race for land. It was a race for knowledge. Inside damaged facilities and underground workshops, soldiers found rocket parts, technical drawings, fuel systems, guidance instruments, and stacks of engineering documents. To most people, it looked like wreckage. To military planners, it looked like the future of power. A new kind of war was already forming. The Cold War had not fully begun, but the shape of it was already visible. Missiles, satellites, nuclear delivery systems, and eventually, space itself. In this chaotic final moment of World War II, the United States began bringing German scientists, engineers, and technicians into American hands. The program was first known as Project Overcast and later became widely known as Operation Paperclip. Its official goal was to use German technical expertise for American research. But behind that explanation was a deeper fear. If America did not take them, the Soviets would. The moral problem was immediate. Some of these men had worked inside the Nazi war machine. Some had knowledge that could help America. Some had pasts that were uncomfortable, compromised, or worse. Yet their knowledge was considered too valuable to leave behind. So the documents moved, the parts moved, the people moved, and the V-2 began a second life. Not in the ruins of Germany, but in the deserts of the United States. At places like White Sands, New Mexico, captured V-2 rockets were studied, rebuilt, tested, and launched. American engineers learned from them. They measured their performance. They studied their failures. They modified them. They used them to take early photographs from high above Earth. The same type of machine once built as a weapon became a tool for atmospheric research, high-altitude experiments, and the first steps towards space science. But this was not a clean transformation. It was not a simple story of evil becoming good. it was more complicated than that. The rocket did not forget where it came from. The metal, the math, the fuel, and the guidance systems all carried the memory of their origin. The V2 was both a technological breakthrough and a human tragedy. And that contradiction would follow the space age from the very beginning. By the 1950s, the world had changed. The United States and the Soviet Union were no longer wartime allies. They were rivals. Each side wanted rockets that could fly farther, carry more, and reach higher. At first, that meant military power, but very quickly, it also meant space. When the Soviet Union launched Sputnik in 1957, the race became public. Suddenly, rockets were no longer hidden in secret facilities. They were national symbols. They were proof of scientific strength, proof of political power, proof that one system could reach higher than the other. America needed an answer. And many of the people who had once worked on German rockets were now part of that answer. Wernher von Braun and his team worked on American missile and rocket programs, including the Redstone rocket. But the Redstone was only one step. The real symbol of this transformation would come later, with the Saturn V, the giant rocket that carried Apollo astronauts toward the moon. It was not a copy of the V2. It was larger, more advanced, and built for a completely different purpose. But history does not move in clean, straight lines. The knowledge that began in wartime laboratories had been absorbed, expanded, and transformed by thousands of engineers. By 1969, the world saw the result. A rocket lifted from Earth, not to strike a city, but to carry human beings into space. And when astronauts walked on the lunar surface, the moment became a triumph of science, courage, and imagination. But behind that triumph was a darker chain of history: war, secrecy, captured documents, moral compromise, and a weapon that revealed how far rockets could go. The moon landing was not just the beginning of a new age. It was also the final echo of a war machine transformed into a dream of space.